Well, welcome back to another episode of In Good Company, where we believe that the best parts in business happen in good company. And I've got a guest on today who is in my wedding. I feel like every interaction we've had with other people that don't know you, my first statement is always, this is Nick, he was in my wedding. But he's incredible. He's someone that I trust with my kids, my family. He's one of those guys that doesn't just care about what he does for work, but he actually, there's a whole life attached to him, not just that 9 to 5 window. And if you are out there and you're looking to start something, you got a dream inside of you, you're not sure exactly how to get started, this is the episode for you. Without further ado, Nick Wetherwax, how you feeling?
Mike, what's up, man? I use the wedding thing too. It's funny.
Oh, dude, I
think it demonstrates because, like, you're a social guy, you know a lot of people, and people are like, oh, I know Mike, and I'm like, not as good as me. I'm like, was he in your wedding?
Yes. You know what? That's probably why I do it too. Like, we were just at this event, which we'll get into, but it was like, I mean, were you in his wedding? Because I was.
Like, it demonstrates like a certain level of like, we go way back.
Yes.
We're truly
agreed.
Boys.
And really, way back to the point of you having a lip ring as well, which we can talk about.
We can if you want, yeah.
Did you like pierce that yourself?
No.
Okay, good.
I almost passed out when I got it pierced.
Was it like piercing pagoda, like at the mall? Like
no, it was like a tattoo shop, and they had like a room in the back you could go get a piercing.
Much cooler.
Yep.
Okay.
So that's what I did.
I just envisioned you in like a Claire's, and it just it made it much more fun.
What if the whole thing was just fake? It was like a clip-on.
Like, I actually got this for $2 at Claire's.
Yeah.
Just waiting in line with like 10-year-olds in front of you.
It turns green every like 14 days.
Ugh,
but
disgusting. Well, for those that don't know you, don't know your story, give us a little bit of a rundown. Where'd you grow up? What's a little bit about you?
So, I grew up on a dairy farm in Wyoming, New York. So like middle of nowhere. And my dad's a 3rd-generation dairy farmer and did that for 40 years. And I had the best childhood ever, like just like 4-wheelers and just like baling hay and milking cows, and like that was the thing. So that's where I grew up. And then I always loved just being outside, and like I felt like I was gonna do something very like active and like outdoorsy, and like that was gonna be my career. And my mom had a friend who was a police officer, and I remember her taking me to like dinner at like her friend's house, and her husband was actually the police officer, and he's like, yeah, like if you want to be a cop, everything is like going on to computers, and you should probably like think about getting like an IT degree, you know, to like set you apart or whatever.
Nice.
And I was like, okay, not knowing anything about computers at the time, which is sort of funny. And then that led to me like starting down that path as far as like my education. And I sort of, in a weird way, like I fell in love with being good at something that not a lot of people were good at, if that makes sense. And like learning about something that not a lot of people understood very well. And it's a very like, if you're driven, you can sort of like get certifications and like achieve what you want to achieve professionally, as long as you're very driven and disciplined, and like that fit my personality well. So like going into IT naturally fit my personality in a way that I didn't really think or anticipate. Yeah. And that's what I've been really doing like ever since professionally, is like doing that.
I think it's amazing, and it's going to transition us into what we're talking about next, because I think there is this, whether it's the rise of social media or whatever it is, there's this constant conversation around, is your job your calling?
Yeah. Like,
is the thing you do for work, does that always have to be the thing that you're most passionate about,
Right.
you'll die on a hill for?
Yeah, dude.
And I do think there's people that are like trapped in their 9 to 5s, and they think in their brain, well, I've got to do something that I love.
Yeah.
I've got to always be working on something that I love.
Yeah.
And yet you are doing something that you're good at, you're passionate about, but it's actually created room for you to do something that you love.
Yeah.
So talk about that transition and a little bit about that journey.
Well, dude, I'll even say, like, not even just like giving me space to do it, but like I do enjoy what I do professionally to a tolerable level, and it frustrates me more if I don't have an outlet for the things that are like in my heart and burning, and it's like this like passion project for me. Like work for me, it turned into like, I just wish that like I had something to give my all to. And like when I gave my all to like my profession at work, it like took more from me because it didn't feed me. It didn't like fuel me. It didn't like give me that purpose and that meaning. And I started to like really go into like a bad place because I was like constantly being pulled and I'm busy and I'm like, why am I giving everything I have to this thing that like doesn't actually care about me? And if I'm honest with myself, like, yes, it provides me like all the creature comforts and the standard of living and like all of that I want and desire, but like it also doesn't give me that like deeper meaning of fulfillment. And that was like a really hard reality check for me, where it's like, are you okay with that, Nick? Like, are you cool with like investing, 5 years of school or whatever and like this money into your college education, and then at the end of the day you're actually not happy? And I found that sense of fulfillment previously by volunteering like at our church. And like that was a huge like fulfilling, very like purpose driven, satisfying, like on a deeper level thing for me. But then just like as I grew older, it started to become something that I didn't necessarily have not the time for, but I wasn't in the season of life where like I could just give that everything I had, because I was also a husband and a brother, and like I had different responsibilities that I didn't have. Dog dad that I didn't have when you're in college.
Of course, yeah. So how did you, because I would imagine, this is kind of a sad way to say it this way, I would imagine there are a lot of people that they do double down on the work side and they do say, I'm looking for fulfillment. And then that's when you see people that get so lost in work and it leads to burnout, and they're just constantly climbing that corporate ladder. Yeah. But you made a move. Mm-hmm. You made a decision where you were going to move into something that we're going to talk about for the rest of this podcast. Great. Open Heart Outlaws. Yep. What is that? Give us the elevator pitch. I mean, passion all the way. Yeah. Let's hit it.
Yeah, OHO is a 501c3. We're a nonprofit organization. So I spent the last few months like making sure that we had like all that legit and set up. But we're a nonprofit that like seeks to reach working class families in upstate New York that are going through some kind of life event, circumstance, trauma, medical issue. So think of like the blue collar, like working hard, I'm going to put in an extra shift, and then there's a medical diagnosis, and like, dude, that's actually just like not in the budget. And you find someone like that who now like can't afford to be sick, or they can't afford to have their house burned down, or they can't afford to be in an accident. And it takes one event like that to put a family in that kind of blue collar category into a crisis. And there's really not like a good like social safety net for that kind of person. And I have always been passionate about like riding and motorcycles. And so the way that we raise money is by having affiliate riders join the organization, and there's like a monthly, membership fee that they pay. And just by joining, now they're eligible for sponsorship, where people can actually donate to sponsor miles they ride. So
that's amazing.
For every mile we ride, it's $1 donated, and it puts meaning behind the miles we ride. So you've got guys that are passionate about something, but now we're taking it one step further and attaching purpose to the thing they're passionate about in motorcycles. And it's like been this crazy thing where like I've been so limited in my thinking about like what it could be. Like this was something I had thought about for a long time, but I didn't really have like the details figured out, and I felt like pretty paralyzed because I didn't know exactly the right steps to take and what to do. But then in 2023, my dad was in a work accident, and I saw firsthand how a person in the working class can be kind of devastated by an unexpected, in his case, work accident. And it took like 18 months for him to get to a point where even like the, insurance would start to pay for some of the care that he needed. And it was just frustrating. And I was in that like tipping point, but then all of a sudden the details didn't matter. And it's like, I'm calling an attorney. I'm just figuring out how to set this thing up the right way, putting people around me that had done something similar. I had happened to have friends who had started nonprofits before, and just like buying them dinner and being like, I need to steal an hour of your time and like peel as much away from your brain that I can to figure out what right steps I need to take. And that's really where it like started. And it seems like every single step of the way, it's like surpassed my expectations and been so like fun, fulfilling, exciting, and really something that gives back when I give it my all. You know, that, like I said before, like work just didn't do that for me, but this definitely does. And it's been super exciting and fun and like fulfilling. I want
to like lean on that in a second, but bring us back to you and I take our wives to Charleston, South Carolina. Like this is really crazy, a part of this story. This is, I don't even remember the year. I want to say 2021 or 22. So right around when maybe this was just a concept, it was just kind of floating in your head. And you and I go to this bar on the last night. We're just sipping a couple
Felix's.
Cocktails. Felix's. Let's go. Could you say Feli? Like it's like, no, Felix's.
Yeah. I mean, we can. So we were at Feli's.
Yeah,
and
excellent. Felix, no offense.
Yeah, sorry, dude. We were in Charleston, and I remember like last night of the trip, and I think all of us were just like ready to be home. Like, you know, when you're like, of course you do, but like you're at that like point on your vacation where you're like, I had so much fun, but also like,
did we stay a day? Yeah, did we stay a day too long? Yeah.
And the girls were just like done. They were like in the Airbnb sleeping, like crashed. And I think we were just like, it can't end like this.
No, man.
It can't end like this. So we go to Felix's, and I remember just that at that time it was an idea, and I don't really even know, like, you know, looking back, I don't even really know like what I thought I wanted it to be then. But I can't explain it other than it was just like this burning dissatisfaction with where my life was headed in terms of like, where's this all going? You know, like as you climb the professional ladder, and it's like, well, that's the next thing I want, whether it's like certain, you know, salary or a title or whatever. It seems like if I put my mind to it and I set myself a goal, like I would achieve it. And then there was always like this next step, and I got to a point, and this is kind of going back to what we were talking about, where like I just felt like I was given more than I was getting, and it made me like super concerned, because like, I mean, we're still like young professionals, you know, and I'm like, bro, is this the next like 50? Like, how many years of my life am I going to spend doing something that like I'm not sure I'm like super fulfilled by, you know? And like, is that something you're cool with or not? And I think when we were like at the bar, and after a couple drinks, it's like that frustration came out in the form of just like casting vision, and I was just like passionate about it, and like still didn't have the details. And I remember like asking you at the bar, I'm like, will you help me? And you were like, of course. And like looking back, like how prophetic, you know, like however many years ago that was, and here we are. But I think between then and, you know, up until just recently, you know, the biggest thing for me is like, the details can't matter, and I'm just gonna like go through with this and like pursue this in a way that's serious, and like not let anyone else's no be mine. Because I think I've started it before, and like I would talk to an attorney, and he's like, are you sure that like that's what you want to do? Like, wouldn't it just be as easy to like get some guys together and like everybody pays $20 and you ride, and then at the end you give that to like a random person in the supermarket with their kids, and you buy their groceries? Like, wouldn't that do the same thing? And like, why spend the money to like set up the corporation and like get your 501c3 status and like pay taxes, and like, why would that? Can't you just do it this way? And I was like, yeah, you're right. You know?
Yeah.
Yep. you're right. You're probably right. Like, you're right. This is silly, you know? And then when they would ask me like pointed questions, I would get like really like insecure because I didn't know like the answers to it, you know, like, and so then I would just sort of like back down. Yeah. And then that, you know, circumstance happened with my dad, and it was just like, this doesn't matter anymore. And I'm not going to let the next lawyer I call be the reason I say no. I'm just going to like assert that this is something that I'm confident about, even though I don't necessarily have like a very direct and specific answer to your silly legal question. Like, we're doing it anyway. I don't know what else to tell you.
I think another way to say that is when you are convinced, you don't have to convince others. Like when you have that like true like word from God of like, dude, I'm doing this thing, and like you feel like intimately like this is what I'm supposed to do. When you get yourself in that alignment, it's like no one's going to stop this from happening. And giving your all is something you've always done from dairy farm days, like waking up super early with pops and doing your thing, and then, you know, continuing on into your professional career. For someone that's listening that they have continued to face these no's, and maybe it's from someone much more intimate than a lawyer, but it's from a parent or it's from a teacher or it's from wherever, where someone is just looking at them that they love and they're going, I just don't think this is a good idea. Yeah. What advice would you have to someone who is in a circumstance like that, that maybe you think could help them, that you wish maybe you got that advice during that time?
Well, I think you have to like really consider like what the people in your life that you respect are saying. So if someone's like, this is a bad idea, this is a bad idea, this is a bad idea, and that's coming from like a bunch of different people, like I wouldn't necessarily be like, well, I'm going to do it anyway, like every time. And I don't necessarily know like the perfect way to weigh that out, but I think you have to like be conscious of people that love you, that are going to give you feedback that you maybe don't want to hear, and like having the self-awareness and maturity to like really understand what they're saying and why. But so like for me and my examples specifically, like I remember feeling like no one's going to carry this vision but the person who's meant to carry the vision. Like no one else is going to have the fire inside of them to start something brand new, unique, creative, other than the person who's meant to start it. And so when you do have like this new vision, this new idea, this new dream inside of you, and it doesn't seem to like add up, but at the same time you can't seem to get it to go away. Like the truth is that there's like one person that's meant to start it, and maybe that's you. And like everybody else isn't meant to start it. And one of the cool things that you've said multiple times is like, once you do, it seems like then there's like a very real representation of what you've meant to say this whole time, right? Like if I could go back and rewind and tell you like, I'm going to start this thing, it's going to be a nonprofit, we're going to have this sick event at Three Heads Brewing, you know, and like we're going to have riders show up and people are going to sponsor them, and we're going to have bands, and like we're going to do a call for people, and there's this family, and here's what they're going through, and we're going to raise money for them and help them and support them in a way that's like kind of like no red tape, no excuses, like super outlaw and on the edge. You'd be like, oh yeah, right? Like the yes would be different, you know, you would be like able to see it with color rather than like an Etch-a-Sketch version of like what I was trying to say.
And also, just to interject, like if you had all the details together, there would be no room for others to be a part of it. Because if you would have presented that to me and gone like, dude, here's what we got this event, we got this stuff, I'd have been like, cool, man, like I'll be there, sounds awesome.
So true.
But like one of the things that I've said numerous times is you almost think about like a wakeboarder or somebody skiing behind a boat. It's like there is this wake that gets developed when the boat gets in the water and it starts moving. And it's like you're letting other people into that current, and you better be attached to this thing, because if you're not, we're flying, baby. And then they want to attach themselves to it, and now you actually create this beautiful environment for people to be a part of. Let's talk about this event that you've alluded to. If you're watching on the video podcast, let's go ahead and put on the recap video real quick.
What's up, guys? It's Nick with Open Heart Outlaws. We are here at Three Heads Brewing at our very first live event. Let's take a look inside. We're here not with a hand out, but with a hand up in a moment in their life when they need it the most. When there's nobody to hold the line, we're going to hold the line. When life and every other social system turns their back on these people, we are not turning our back. And when life throws a punch, we're here to swing back, baby. Because that's what happens when the open heart of generosity meets the badass spirit of an outlaw.
Dude, what an event.
So sick, right?
Like, like really. I mean,
so dope.
Even just like being there and like seeing it, again, it's one thing to have like seen like the napkin vision.
Yeah.
And then to like be there and just witness it.
Yeah.
That was really special. I think probably my favorite part, and then obviously I want to hear yours, is like, I love the idea that there were live bands, there were people that were supporting the bands or whatever, or just people that were like just grabbing a beer.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, like, they're a part of this magical moment.
Yeah.
It's not at a church. It's not in some like nonprofit whatever. It's at a brewery.
Right.
Amazing.
It was so good. I've never felt like the high of, and maybe I'm not supposed to say this or whatever, but I don't know. Like, it was so awesome. And like, just riding that wave and being like, wow, like how cool is it to be able to have everybody like in my life that I love the most, like a part of this thing and there, and it was incredible. Yeah.
Like this is gonna, no offense to your beautiful wife, this is gonna be weird, but it was almost of like wedding proportions, like something that has a lot of prep, a lot of energy, and it's like the birthing of this incredible vision, you know?
Sure.
No offense, Cass, we love you.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, it was really special, and obviously your family being involved, gotta feel just incredible to feel supported by those that you love.
Yeah, of course. Yep.
Just
so
just
cool.
Incredible.
I loved your idea at the end.
Thank you.
Of like, hey, we should just go up there and like ask people to donate and just do kind of like this like random call for donations like after the speech. And to be able to like sit back and like see people respond that had no affiliation with our organization is like, that's a random guy that showed up to Three Heads to watch Blue Envy or whatever, and like he caught the vision and like he's in, you know, and to be able to like carry that wave of hope and generosity and love and extend it to this family in need, and it's like such an honor to be able to do that, to be able to like steward this thing and see it through, and not just have it be that this is like an idea. I think one of the biggest fears I had was like, we're going to create this sick brand and then like we're not going to have like a way to express like the mission that we've been talking about in a way that's tangible that people can see. But that wasn't the case. Like we had a family in need and we were able to fulfill that need in a way that was like powerful and impactful. Like insurance wasn't going to come through, but we were going to come through, and it was just super cool to be able to do that.
Yeah, it's amazing. And that story we've shared, and there'll be some videos on your social account to just get a deeper story of that, but just unbelievable.
Yeah.
There's so many different red tape pieces you got to move through, but you're showing up, dropping off brand new pair of Jordans, whatever. Yeah. It's like just living that outlaw life. Talk about the phrase outlaw. I think that you did such a good job communicating that at the event. Just like lean into that a little bit, because again, I think the blue collar folks, like, and you've already hit on this, but those are the people that if you say you got to clean this barn and you got an hour to do it, some people would clean it for 15 minutes and then just be chilling.
Yeah.
Those people need to be like dragged out of the barn because they're cleaning for that full hour.
Right.
Just talk about these kind of people and why do you feel so drawn to help them?
Well, I think that goes way back to like my roots, and like, you know, my dad has always been just the toughest guy in the room, and to see him at a point in his life where he just like wasn't anymore, it was super scary for our family. Like that outlaw attitude comes from like my bloodline. Like my dad's been the hardest working guy, unapologetically, like always just like getting after it and providing, doing whatever we needed to make sure that like I had basketball sneakers when I needed them, or like I had cleats, or like whatever. We had school clothes for the new year, and it was so like selfless and giving back, and it really didn't like matter what it cost him. He was going to do what it took to provide. And I also think about like the influences that like he's brought into my life, like even just like musicians. Like he's always been super into like Bob Dylan, and Bob Dylan's got this like kind of like, he's not your typical like artist. And I think about like Johnny Cash at Folsom Prison when he like did these prison like shows, you know, and people were like, dude, what are you doing that for? Like, these guys don't need a concert. They need to do like time, you know, and pay for what, you know, they've done or whatever. And he just didn't care. He was doing it for the people, right? He was like doing it to like extend and express a kind of humanity that he was connecting with these guys incarcerated. It's like, I'm on the stage, but tonight we're together, you know? And
yeah, dude,
if I think about the people that we're trying to serve, it's the people that typically don't ask for help. Yeah. And I remember, like, without sharing too many details, like, you know, I want to obviously like respect this family, but we showed up at this place and this dad goes, yeah, give it, like, we're good, give it to somebody else, kind of a thing. And that's when I knew that this was the family we were going to help. And he didn't know that, but like I knew that. That was like such confirmation, you know, because we've had other people like reach out, and it's always been a struggle for me to feel like, are we vetting these properly? And are you just in a scenario that like is a cycle and, you know, like
on to the next nonprofit.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm looking for the kind of person that would otherwise just roll their sleeves up and do what it took to accomplish the task at hand, even if it meant sacrificing their own health, even if it meant sacrificing like something personally that maybe they wanted or would prefer for the sake of the person that they're serving, and that it's their family, their son, their daughter, their wife, like whoever. Finding those families and just like unapologetically showing up, and just like Johnny Cash being like, today we're together, and like, this is not a handout, this is a hand up, and we're here to fight with you and stand with you in this moment where, for no fault of your own, life just threw you a punch.
Yeah,
you know?
Dude, it's unbelievable. And for those that maybe like are listening to this, they want to be involved in some way. Obviously, we'll have your website in the show notes and everything. But is there any quick ways for them to get involved if they're like me? They don't ride a motorcycle. They, you know, aren't super cool. They don't have an outlaw attitude.
Right.
Any ways that people can get involved?
Yeah, of course. So the model of how we raise money is riders, guys who ride motorcycles, and then the miles they ride being sponsored, a mile at a time, $1 a mile. So if you don't have a motorcycle and you want to be a part of what we're doing, you can sponsor our riders. You can go to our website and you can click on the sponsor a rider button, pick somebody and sponsor some miles. It can be 5, 10, 20, 50. It doesn't matter. Like, you don't have to go crazy, but every single mile matters and it counts and like goes towards our mission. Like 100% of what we raise goes straight back to our mission. So, and
you guys got to be riding more, like knowing that.
Oh, dude,
it's like, honey, I don't want to go ride. Like the people need me. Like, I mean, right? Like, you guys got to be.
Yeah. It's like, we always have loved it, but there's a new kind of fire about it this year, you know? For sure. Yeah, for sure.
Are we getting some like competition with the fellas? Like, are people feeling, I feel like.
Yeah. So we have it set up right now where when someone gets sponsored, it kind of like blasts an email to a riders group.
All right.
And so there's this like natural like competition where someone will see a donation come in, and then it's like 20 minutes later, like somebody's got another one, you know, and there's this like tit for tat going on. It's great. Yeah.
Love it. We do a portion of the episode called Fails of the Week. We think it's very easy when you see the nice branded merch and Nick's great big event that we just showed, like, oh, it must be nice, bro. You're just living your dream. You're pursuing it all. Any fails either from the event prep or launching this thing over the past couple months that you feel like are just a funny story? I've got one as you're thinking.
Let's hear it.
So think. we were excited because we were going to have a TV at the event. And
Dang it, yeah.
Yeah, and it was going to be, you know, nice, just little slideshows, some cool videos, like all this stuff. And our good friend Brett, he's like, oh, I've got the perfect TV, super easy. I'll just throw it in my truck. We'll bring it over. And I remember getting to the event, and I'm just looking at the TV, and it's got this like really gross, like, you know, screensaver on it. Turns out it wasn't. It was just broken because he had jammed it and dropped it, or something happened. And the good news was the TV worked, like half the screen worked.
Yep.
And it was an Outlaw. The TV was an Outlaw.
Dude, it was like one of those, like, should I just pull
No.
this? I was like, nah, I think people get it. They get the point. We tried.
No, they clearly need funds.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was perfect. Yeah.
We need a new TV.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, that could work unless you got another one.
I mean, there were a couple things, like, specifically with the event that I was like, oh, yeah, like that could have gone better. Like, our banners were, like, super small.
Oh, okay.
And I remember, like, unrolling them, and then, like, they ended. And I was like, wait a minute. Okay.
Where's the second box?
Yeah. Where are the big banners?
Yeah.
So, like, that was kind of like, I didn't check didn't inspect what I expected and, like, check the details of, like, the dimensions and, like, okay, let's measure this. Like, what am I actually wanting when I say I want a banner?
Yeah.
You know? So that's one example, I think. But that's, like,
yeah,
it's
whatever.
I remember when we were first building the website, like, the website was brand new, and I remember I made a change to, so you know how, like, you can have, like, of course you can have, like, QR codes that, like, go to the site, right? And that QR code lands at a certain, like, they call it, like, a slug, I think. You probably know this, where it's, like, after the backslash, there's, like, specific text that takes you to that very specific web page. And I had used, like, the templated web pages. So, like,
excellent.
The riders page slug was, like, I don't even remember, like, newsletter or something.
Great.
And I'm like, that's silly. So I just changed it. And then, like, it broke, like, all the links on the site and, like, all the QR codes. And I remember,
you're like, I work in tech. I can do this.
I remember being, like, super proud of it. And I was in the barbershop and I was, like, talking to people about it. And they were, like, on our website and, like, nothing was working. And I was, like, panicking because I'm like, I can't leave. This guy's giving me a fade. Like, I was, like, trapped in the moment and panicking. And yeah, I ran home and fixed it. But
wow.
I think I can get in the bad habit of, like, doing something and then, like, having this impulse to go over and do it again, but a little better.
Got it.
Like, I have the bad habit of, like, I want to check the box and I want to, like, get the thing out there. And then after it's out there, I stand back and look at it. And then I'm like, let's, like, make it a little better. And then I'll, like, pull it back and, like, redo a thing. And then, like, put it back out. And then, like, I do this constantly. And
yeah, bro,
I think I need to, like, learn to just trust people to do their job, and also learn to manage better and like, in a very kind way, like, set expectations and follow up. And not that it's discipline, but, like, also when I'm dissatisfied, like, be okay with giving that feedback before it goes out and it's live.
Yeah.
And I think, especially in a nonprofit, I'm doing this with people that are volunteering their time. I'm doing this with people that, like, are very, very close to me, and, like, both my family and some of my best friends. And there can be, like, some tension there where, like, I'll trust somebody with something, and then I'm, like, kind of not cool with what they've produced. And now I have to, like, trust that they trust me enough for me to give them the feedback that's uncomfortable for me to give, but, like, I feel like I need to and I want to. And so, like, finding that, otherwise I'm just doing it, and then like, I'm doing everything, and that's, like, not sustainable or not tenable. So, like, figuring that out, I think.
I heard a phrase once, quality equals meeting expectations. Here's the problem. If expectations aren't clear, then everyone has their own definition of quality, right?
Yeah.
And I think you have done a good job, and consistent feedback loops and opportunities, SOPs, like the whole thing, can actually point us to the North Star of, hey, this is quality.
Yeah.
Like when we're doing this, it needs to look like this or match this. But it's hard. And that was going to be my next question is, for someone that's listening that maybe wants to do a nonprofit or someone that is maybe running a nonprofit, it's one thing if you run a job where you have staff that you pay. To have a team of people you're expecting to do things and you're expecting to advance this mission, you could not do this by yourself.
No.
And you know that. I think anyone that's been involved in a nonprofit knows that. Yet, you have this army of people that are behind you. Mm-hmm. They're not full-time. Like, no one's taking $1, not yourself, not anybody.
Right.
But how do you rally a group of volunteers that are passionate? How do you actually get them moving in the right direction? And maybe you don't know the answer, but it is happening. And I do think that there's people that, to your point earlier, they're waiting until they have the people, the funds, the expertise. They'll watch YouTube videos until it's 3 a.m. because they themselves got to learn it.
Yeah.
And just because you're responsible for everything doesn't mean you have to do everything.
Right.
And I'm watching that unfold in your life. How have you been able to do that?
Well, I think it's first finding the right people, like that's key. But after that, like I personally, like I need a framework, like I need a tool to help me with that, because I like won't sleep at night unless I like write stuff down, because I find myself like thinking of the little details and then they're fleeting and I like forget. And then I'm like trying to remember what I thought of that was like mildly important, but like I knew I really wanted to do it. So I need to have a place to take the things out of my brain and put them like into a system. And so we've like developed a process and have a tool that helps us like manage like things that people are doing, and I can go in there and like feel better about knowing that like this to do is assigned to this person with this deadline. Like it's so helpful. And then if I think of something in the middle of the night, I can just go in there and like put it in as like an issue or a note, and like now it's captured, right? And now when we meet, we take all the things that like have been floating around in my mind or in conversation, because like I'll meet with people on a different like basis, and then we have our board meeting, but like I've had these ancillary conversations with everybody. And so to have this like compilation of information that we can all look at and together agree on what's most important to do when and who's doing it has been like really helpful for me to feel like we're making meaningful progress.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, if you can't get it out of your brain, it's a tough dance.
And I think everybody does that to some extent or to some level. But yeah, I've just
there's no question. I mean, if you are married in this room, those are two different people and two different like organization structures and whatever. My wife is incredibly organized and I am not. And that was not very kind. But for me, if it's on a digital platform, my digital calendar, the whole thing. My wife is like, we've got this calendar at home. It's paper and pen, some colorful markers, and she writes in, whatever. This Friday, she has a work event. We're going to a concert at CMAC, private viewing area, super fun. I also have a client company barbecue that's taking place.
Conflict.
My wife's like, this has been on the calendar for 3 months. And I go, no, it has not, right? But again, it is important, both at a personal level and in a nonprofit business, whatever, to find the thing, to define that this is where this goes, and then everyone can follow into that stream. And I think you've done a really great job with that. We have a portion of our pod called Rapid Fire Hot Seat Questions. These are 1-2 sentence responses, really quick. And we're just going to get to know you better as we conclude. You ready for this?
Great. I'm probably going to get canceled, but go.
Oh, that would be awesome. What is your favorite motorcycle that you've ever ridden?
I mean, I am in love with my bike. It's a 2020 Harley Davidson Lowrider S.
All right. Is there a dream bike?
Yeah, I think a Road Glide would be super sick. It's got like a big fairing in the front. It's got like saddlebags on the sides, and it's kind of known to be like one of the more comfortable bikes.
Okay.
That and maybe like a Goldwing are like kind of in competition with like the most comfortable. And I think as I get older, I'm going to worry less about what looks cool and more about like what's going to keep me riding longer. Okay. And I think that's in my future for sure.
This might be a really hard one. I'm very excited about it. Dream hunting trip or dream cross-country road trip on the bike?
Maybe one and the same.
Okay.
That would be cool. But I think dream hunting trip would probably be like South Dakota, like pheasant hunting with my dad. That's like up there.
Yeah. Those pheasants, those pesky pheasants.
I also think like Iowa whitetail. That's always been like, we used to, like as kids, we used to go to Walmart and we used to buy these DVDs, Real Tree Outdoors with Bill Jordan, and like my dad would buy these movies and we'd watch them. And I just remember my dad being like, "Oh, Iowa, there's no place like Iowa." And so I would love to just like take him on a trip and go to the place that he's always been like, there's no place. Like, that would be so fun. Yeah.
What do you think of Iowa, Dad?
Everything you thought or not?
Yeah. It's like, this sucks.
Yeah. Right. Probably hate it.
It's like, Bill was such a liar.
Yeah.
Poor Bill.
Yeah.
Just catching strays. What was your go-to farm chore as a kid? Like, what was the thing that Pops made you work on?
In the summers, we were always like baling hay. We baled square bales of dry hay, and it was like torture as a kid. But like when my parents would go away, I remember my dad would have somebody come and like help milk the cows. I wasn't like old enough to be able to do that on my own, but I was old enough to be able to feed them. And so my job was like give them all corn silage and then give them all grain before they came in.
Yeah,
that was my deal.
Wow.
Yep.
How about it?
Yep.
Last question: if you had a Saturday completely free, how would you spend it?
If I had a Saturday completely free, how would I spend it? Well, I'd probably start by like waking up early ish. I'd probably spend like some amount of time in the gym, and I think beyond that, maybe in a tree stand or on the bike somewhere. I mean, it's not very exciting, but that's probably what I would do.
Wow.
Yeah.
You lost me at waking up early. Yeah. I think if I think about my Saturday, that would not have been where I started.
I mean, I feel better about myself if I wake up earlier.
Yeah, no, I got that.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
No, I get it. That's great.
Yeah.
I'm happy that we ended there. Thank you for being on. I mean, again, we call this In Good Company for conversations just like this one, from launching a dream, getting good company around you to actually fulfill that thing. Absolutely honored to call you friend. And as a gentle reminder, as I said in the beginning, Nick was in my wedding. So if anyone's listening, I was also in his. So if anyone's listening,
Fun fact.
I'm a closer friend. Yeah. But thank you for tuning in to another episode of In Good Company, where we really do believe that the best parts in business happen in good company. Take care.
Thanks for listening to In Good Company. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. For more information or to connect with Mike, visit him online at thomasmediagroup.co or on Instagram at Michael L. Thomas. Thanks again for listening, and remember, the best of business happens in good company. We'll see you next time.